to my channel. My name is Diamond Alexis if you're new here, and if you're returning, thank you so much for returning. Let's get straight into the video. This is the type of hair that you will need, or any kind of braiding hair. You're going to also need the clips, kind of similar to what I have in my head to separate your hair, a detangling brush, leave-in conditioner, gel, and also some hair tools like a rat tail comb, a smoothing brush, and edge brushes. And then you're also going to need some rubber bands. Make sure you have a smaller rubber band so that you can wrap the end of the hair. And let's get straight into prepping the hair. So for prep, I parted my hair in 4 sections. Yes, I'm starting on freshly washed hair. My hair is a little bit damp. If you want to heat or blow dry your hair in between the sections, you can do that as well. But with having thick hair, it's easier to work with hair that is wet or damp. So that is what I'm doing. My hair will dry as I'm going through the motion, but at the end, my hair is just a tad damp, maybe like, I would say like 50% damp, but it's not like fully wet, if that makes sense, and it's not uncomfortable. So if you want to do it this method, trust me, it looks really good. So what you're going to do for each section is fully detangle, and I put emphasis on this because if you don't if you don't fully detangle, your hair will be like have humps and lumps, and I don't like that. So I prefer to fully detangle. You might see me brushing through it a lot, but like I said, this is for thick hair. So go through each section and put in leave-in conditioner and detangle from the ends up. If you detangle from the roots down, your hair is going to be prone to pulling and separating in splits. We don't want that. So we're gonna do it the right way. So I also am showing you each side of my head so you can know that I did half of my hair and I'm working on the other half, and I'm gonna perfect my part. I'm doing a middle part long braid, so I want to make sure that part is as straight as possible. I'm gonna go back and correct it a little bit later, but for right now, I'm just putting in the leave-in conditioner so that when my hair does decide to dry, it still has that moisture in there, so that the gel won't be completely cast all over it, because this style does require a healthy amount of gel. So to have a protective barrier and to have moisture, I'm using the Design Essentials leave-in conditioner, which is really good, especially for this style, because the consistency of it is thin, so it's not going to interrupt your styling process, but it still has moisture, which I love. I wouldn't recommend a thick leave-in because it'll leave a white cast, and when you go to put the gel on, it'll make it mucky. So you want something with a thin, almost water-like consistency. I would even say use a water-soluble leave-in conditioner. But yeah, so now I'm going to break down the back section again, and I'm going to detangle both sections again, and then I'm going to add more leave-in conditioner, but this time I'm going to focus it on my roots because my roots are thick, and also that's where your hair grows. So I don't want to necessarily just smack gel on there for this style. So I'm going to start off with something moisturizing and then put the gel on. And when I put the Wetline Extreme gel on, I'm working it all the way through. Like, I don't want to have wet gloppy glumps of gel in certain areas, so I'm working it in. And when you smooth it, you can feel like how it is, and your hair will start to dry as well. As you can see, I don't drag it all the way down to my ends because I'm going to moisturize it again later, but my hair is already drying in real time. So yeah, make sure you do that. Make sure you detangle and work in sections. Like, even if you have to do small sections, that is the trick with thick hair. Work in smaller sections, or just work in sections in general, and that will literally help the style look better and look more neat. So now that I'm halfway through my head, I'm going to continue to smooth it more. But at this point, this is when I'm going to make sure I comb it through and detangle it really well, because this is where the hump can start, and I don't want it to start that way. So I'm really detangling to the point where I want the brush to hit my scalp. It doesn't hurt, but I want it to rub my scalp so that I know that the hump is not there. You also want to look in the mirror at the same time to make sure that there's no hump. And I have cuts in the video, but trust me, I was looking in the mirror every step of the way to make sure that there were no humps left over. And by this part, once I get like to almost like the crown of my head a little bit, but I have still like the back section, I start to smooth it with the smoothing brush that I was telling y'all about in the beginning, just to make sure all the hairs are, the flyaways are laid down. And then this is where the first rubber band will come into play, just to hold the back part down, and then we'll smooth the sides down, the front side pieces down later. When you put the rubber band in, make sure your palm is facing towards the top part of the ponytail so that you can decrease the chances of having a hump. I really grip and tighten at the same time. You can go as tight as you want to, but me, I like to, I go a few rounds with the rubber band just so I can make sure it's secure, because my hair is thick and when your hair dries, it expands. So that is to protect it from expanding. Now for this part, since I still have to work on the top, I just detangle it more. I don't add any other water. I just detangle it more. See how flat that is? But by the time I get done with the top two sections, that hair is going to be dry. So I twist it so that it dries but still has a little moisture. I'm going to be using this braider's gel. Like I said, I was correcting my part a little bit more. The braiding gel is not necessarily, it doesn't serve any purpose for me except for making sure that my part is super straight. Like, I don't know what the trick is that I learned from braiders, but like once you put that on there to literally lay the hair down, like the product, it helps you be able to see if your part is neat or not. Like, I don't know the trick. If you know the trick, comment down below so that I can know the reasoning behind that. But yeah, I just put it on, something I learned from braiders, and it helps me see if my part is straight, and it was straight. So now I'm going to move forward in the prepping process. So I take the first section of the top part and I split that in half too, still working in sections, and I'm clipping my hair back. And now I'm going to go ahead and detangle it again with the unbrushed brush. Y'all, I love the unbrushed brush so much. I feel like it's perfect for our hair, so perfect. I'm also going to use some Wetline Extreme. I'm starting at the edges again, like the top part where the roots are, to literally lay it down, because like your foundation is this ponytail part that you're prepping, not really the styling. Your foundation is this right here. And like I said, I want my brush to touch my scalp so that I know that my hair is truly laid down. And I'm gonna brush it in the way of which it's the style I want, like the look of the style I want. So if you want your edges to swoop or your ponytail to swoop, you want to brush it that way. Even if you're working on just the bottom section underneath the top where your main part is, you want to still make that hair go the way that you want it to look. And I go side by side. So I'll do the left bottom part of the top section and the right bottom part of the right section, and I go side by side because I feel like it'll make it look even. Because if I start working on one side all the way, the hair on the other side would dry and I would be left with a lump. You know your hair, so you just have to learn. So I just go section by section so that the drying time is about the same on each side, and I don't have a problem with something drying too fast and having to re-wet it and it's not properly wet again. Like, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm adding more gel and to the top, and now I'm gonna still do the same thing, brush it in the way that I want the style to look. I'm going in with this ultra gel from Got2b, and this is just for the top layer only. I only do this at the top because it's going to set the style. And you're going to see later I'm going in with the Got2b Freeze spray to pair it to make sure I have no flyaways, y'all. This gel with the Got2b glue spray made it to where I had no flyaways. So Wetline Extreme is cool, but for a style like this where I'm adding artificial hair or like fake hair or weave, whatever, I want to use something that's going to lay it down to look as smooth as possible. Yes, we know it's not real, but I at least want to make it look right, you know? So I'm smoothing this in. This is where the second rubber band is going to come in at, but you want to make sure that top part is smooth. Like, I'm going in with the unbrushed. Like, look at that. It has to be no hump. So look in the mirror, really get the comb. Even if you have to put your hand far away from the rubber band just to get that flatness going, do that. I'm going to take my smoothing brush and smooth all the hairs down again. make sure my palm is facing the top part of my head, and put the rubber band. Each time I do that, I'm smoothing it back down again so there's no hump left over, y'all. You gotta do that. You got to. Go as many times as you can with the rubber band. I was looking again, I was like, I think I can go one more, and then I just like, never mind. So smooth it again, and this is the part where you can do your edges too and put a wrap on, but I'm gonna detangle first the ends just to make sure, in case while detangling, if I pull any hairs too tight, if it makes like a little gap. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, but when you put a ponytail in and the ponytail is not as secure and you start combing, it can sometimes pull the hair tighter than the rest of the hair and you'll be left with like a line or a lump, and that was what I was making sure of. And I turned around to check the mirror, and then I did my edges, and now I'm putting on the hair wrap, because now that we did that and twisted the hair out of the way, we're ready to put the wrap on. And so now I'm untwisting the twist so that I can go ahead and detangle again and get ready to do the long braid. This time when you're detangling, you are going to go section by section, but now we're going to do the whole entire ponytail. Yeah, I really could have did this with my real hair, but I wanted the ponytail down to the booty. I wanted it long. So I'm just gonna take some clips to kind of, what is it called, like stretch my natural hair. See how it's stretching it out? And I'm gonna have this like this for as long as it takes for me to separate the hair, as you can see in the background. And now we're gonna be on the styling portion. So I'm gonna take the Got To Be freeze spray and spray it on the top of the ponytail and comb that out. That is just to help with any flyaways and to help the beginning portion of my braid to look more like seamless and flat. And then I'm gonna take that rat tail comb and really work that Got To Be in. And this portion is your real hair, and you're gonna keep the clips in at the bottom because it's gonna help put some weight to kind of pull and stretch your hair, since your hair is already damp. By this time it's starting to dry. Like, I have combed out all of my curls. Like, it's a done deal. So it's getting ready for the style. I'm going to separate it into 3 sections, and remember to detangle, 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 because that's how you're going to get it smooth. Make sure you have your hair pieces out, laid out, kind of like that, where it's like a pinch. Like, all I did was pinch the hair and then put it spaced out between each other, so that when I go to do the feed in method, I can just grab and go, grab and go. So I started braiding for about 2, I guess, twists when you make the braid. So you start the braid and then you do it 2 times. And once I got to the point where my pointer finger and my thumbs were facing outward toward my left hand, is when I would grab a piece of the hair and bring it back and continue braiding. So you're just going to continue that motion. You're going to braid, your finger starts to point, and then you're going to grab the hair and feed it in. Y'all, I'm not going to lie to y'all, this took me so many tries, because it's like you can't look at it, you got to think, or you got to feel how the braid is. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, you can't look, you just gotta feel it to know that it's right. And once you get in the groove, if you start thinking about something else or like trying to look, you mess up. Like, what is that called? I don't know what that's called, but it's like I have to like just feel it. Like, I can't start thinking about it, I can't start looking at it, because I'll mess up. But my hair was starting to get dry, like I was telling y'all. So in order to kind of wet it back up and keep it slick and frizz free, I would take the Got To Be freeze spray and spray it a little bit more. I'm so sorry for the lighting, y'all, but you can still see it. It's just the hair is, darker. But yeah, and that really helps slick it down and wet it up a little bit, and wets it up without adding any frizz. It's just gonna slick it down. If you want it to be a little bit more natural, I would suggest just only using one color type of hair that is closer to your hair color. I don't know why, for the first time I wanted to try it with color. Oh, that was all I had. So I had to use what I had, but it still worked out really well, because the hair starts off dark like my hair and then goes into a more browner color. But yeah, so really work that in, smooth it in, and keep braiding. If you mess up, it's okay. We're learning this together. I'm recording this, but I had to start over so many times because, like I was telling y'all, I would mess up my groove. But I don't know why it was so hard to do this. I think it's when you're braiding with your elbows up and you're going to the back. Y'all, it's hard. And then my triceps was burning. I feel like the hardest part is the ends because they start to dry down. They dry down faster, and now the problem isn't braiding, it's braiding and trying to blend the ends together. So what I did was just continue, even add a little bit of the wet line gel or the got to be, just anything to kind of smooth it together. But the most helpful was the got to be because it would wet it up to the point where I could smooth it in, and then it will also help with combating any frizz that came with the drying process of my natural hair. And as you can see, this is a part where I was like, oh my gosh, please don't mess up, please. So I had to like keep starting over, trying to get that groove back in, and then finally got it. You see how my finger is like pointy, then it's going to grab, and then you're going to continue braiding. That's the best way I can describe it without confusing y'all. And don't worry, it will tangle. One of the things that I've learned from a braider when I got knotless braids was water. I don't know why nobody ever taught me that, but when I saw her spraying it with some water and it was literally melting the hair, I was like, oh my gosh, this whole time I've been working with braiding hair, I never thought to spray it with some water. When you spray the water on the braiding hair, it literally lays flat and you can rub your fingers through it and pull out the loose pieces, and it makes it a lot easier. Now, it did not give me any frizz or anything. It just makes it a lot easier. And you want to take your time, don't rush. Just literally take your time and braid the hair, because if you try to rush, you'll mess up. So if you notice any frizzy pieces, you want to go back through with the rat tail comb and the got-to-be and try to tuck it in. Like I said before, you will probably have to start over a few times unless you're just like a super pro. But this is one of the easiest styles that I have ever done with braiding hair. And I'm even taking the unbrushed brush because if it can detangle my hair, it can also detangle this braiding hair. You don't want to comb it too much, because if you comb it too much, you could pull away from the braiding hair that you added when feeding in. So if you are trying to use the unbrushed brush to kind of detangle it a little bit, I would suggest doing it lightly and not with a lot of force, so that you don't mess up the integrity of the braiding hair or the braid. But keep the motions of spraying it. You can detangle with your fingers or detangle with the unbrushed brush and keep working. It gets a little bit easier once you get to the end, unless you want it to be a little thicker or longer, then I would suggest adding more. And if you can't tell by this clip, I did have to start over because I messed up. Like I was telling y'all, you will have to just keep going. And I'm finally to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm almost done. If you look at the background, there's only one piece of hair left, and that shows you that I'm pretty much finishing up the style. You can keep adding hair to the length that you like, but I wanted to just add my butt. So it comes with 4 clumps of hair, or like portions of hair. I used 2 of those to get this braid. After using the small rubber band to secure the braid, I'm going to just comb out the ends because I'm going to do a curl at the end with the flexi rod. If you don't want to do that, you're pretty much done unless you want to dip it in hot water. But yeah, I'm going through right now and I'm going to fix the parts where I see the frizz, and that's just spraying got to be using a rat tail comb to tuck the hair and then blow drying it immediately afterwards because got to be it's kind of sticky. So if you let it rub against something, it'll get sticky and do the opposite of what you want it to do. It'll make it to where it's more frizzy. So you want to spray, comb, blow dry. Spray, comb, tuck, blow dry. Right here, I'm pulling sections of the braid where they're a lot tighter than the rest just to kind of make it look a little bit more even. Like I said, this is the first time. It's not going to be perfect, but just pull just to make it look a little bit more even. And then I'm going through again and doing the trick I was telling y'all and blow drying it. I had one little part that was just terrible, but it was nothing compared to the rest of the braid, so I let it go. Then I'm gonna go through and cut any flyaways or stray hairs all the way down to the end, but don't do it where your real hair is. If you did the process right to where you slicked it down with the got to be, you shouldn't have any flyaways of your own hair. It should only be the braiding hair because of the feed-in method. Sometimes pieces and strands will stick out. So now we're at the point where we're going to use the flexi rod to curl the ends. I like to do this motion where I start to curl and then I twist. Curl, twist, curl, twist. It gives that cute like springy effect. I love it. You're gonna see at the end, I love when it's springy like that. Okay, now we're at the final parts of this style. So now you're gonna take off the wrap. You can have it for as long as you want. I only did it for like the entire portion of doing the hair and the braid. And so now I'm looking to make sure nothing is out of place. It looks really good for me. I'm satisfied. I like it. I make sure there's no hump. Just make sure everything is smooth and good. And for the first time, I think this looks really good. I would definitely do this again and try to learn different methods. But for me, it looks like it's blended really well. I would just want to tighten up on my braiding skills, especially from the back. But I love it. I think it's so tea. So after that, I'm gonna go ahead. I boil some hot water. You can use a pitcher or a cup, and then I'm gonna dip the flexi rod portion of the hair into that. And also, if you want to set the hair, you can use got to be or whatever setting spray you have for your hair. And then you're gonna go ahead and blow dry it all over again just to dry it down. Y'all, I was so happy with my hair result. I would definitely do this again. It's not gonna be perfect, just remember that, but it is a super cute style. And I like to oh my gosh, I cannot. I like to dip the ends and also a good portion of the braid, kind of like halfway through. And it really helps with kind of like elongating and setting and holding the style. It is going to be wet, so I took a towel to kind of like mash it. You don't want to rub, you just want to lightly press the water out of the braid. And then this is the final result. Let me know what you think and if you'll try this style. If you are a braider or a hairstylist, let me know any tips or tricks. But other than that, I think this is really cute for your first time. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.